All right, Julian from All Your Friends Are Brainwashed podcast. Welcome. How's it going today?
It's going good. You made my day yesterday when you messaged me. So I am, or the other day, I'm in a great mood. I'm ready to piss some people off.
Oh, let's piss them all off. Let's go. All right. Well, it's a ritual first question, and I'm excited. This is the first time I've been able to ask someone in 2023. So, Julian, when did you start to speak your truth?
Oh man. I'm 25 now. I lost everything by waking up, and I mean everything at when did I piss everybody off? 22? 22 maybe. So maybe everything is a blur now. But around 22, I woke up from the Grimerica show
Hmm.
and it was really like celebrities being weird, and like I'm super into videography. I like film. I love editing. Like all my stuff is cold. Like I don't have a lot of traction because I don't want a lot of traction, but I'm a brilliant graphic design artist. Like all my shit looks good. It's clean. The logo's nice. Excuse me, intros are solid. Everything's pretty. And I was really obsessed with, videography and film. And I kept on seeing like celebrities doing the same shit. And I'm like, okay, if all of these celebrities are so talented and smart and different, and why are they all in a bathtub? Okay, and then I was like, why is this ugly ass checker tiles here? Like, this is not aesthetically appealing. Like, who the frick wanted tiles in your back? Like, hey, let's put tiles in the living room. Yep, let's put tiles in the basement. Let's put like tiles everywhere. And then they kept on making the same hand gestures.
Hmm.
Started seeing a lot of like the 666
Right.
things, and then it was like little Uzi Vert that I kind of started seeing things in young Dolph, or no, young Thug. I seen him, and then I saw video footage over like Little Wayne and video footage of Little Wayne, Birdman, and a bunch of other rappers, and they're all being like, not to be rude, but they're being like homo with each other, and
Hmm.
I mean that's fine if that's what you want to do. But I started thinking like, okay, if these people are saying, gay is bad, but then they're gay behind closed doors and they're doing all this weird stuff, something's going on. Something has to be going on because they're telling us not to do it, but they're doing it. And then fast forward where I am now, meeting Sam, and then getting to be a part of kind of like the tinfoil hat community a little bit with like some of his personal friends, and having a journey to actually meet the big, like the some of the biggest names in podcasting, and sharing with them, and then personal experiences. I don't know if you listened to, so when I first had the show All Your Friends Are Brainwashed, we did some episodes on child trafficking, paranormal. We like got an interview with one of the biggest paranormal hunters in the US, and that was groovy. But to summarize it down smaller, because I don't want to babble. Really, that seeing what other people are doing, and then they tell us, slaves, or for anybody who's too sensitive for that, then the peasants, right?
Hmm.
Not to do it. I'm like, why? What's up with that? And I don't know about you, but when my logo is research MK Ultra,
Hmm.
I should really change it to like research what gaslighting means, because we're all gaslighting. Seriously. That's
Yes.
what MK Ultra is we're all gaslit. They do shit, and like your mommy tells you not to eat the cookie, you eat the cookie, she beats the shit out of you.
It's like when Alice sees Wonderland and then she goes back to tell everyone and they're like, "Oh, that's just in your imagination, sweetie. Go sit down."
Precisely. Yeah.
Hmm.
Right on it.
Well, in the spirit of Sam Tripoli, because he's someone that has been a greatly positive influence, I would say, whether it's Tinfoil Hat or Zero, his spiritual podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I want to mention something that he says a lot, and it's that rising tides raise all ships. And I really love when he reminds people of this on his show. And it's cool that, this community is working together and supporting each other, whether you're creators or just someone with a message that they want to tell. And what I want to ask really quick before we move any further, you mentioned your videography. Is this available on your Instagram? Like, how can people find your art, your passions, your work? How can people get connected with you, Julian?
So it is on Instagram, but like you said, when did you wake up? Since I woke up, I have uh, look, I don't want to be famous. I don't want I I network with few. And if you're mean and you're spiteful and you're not with like, you don't move in peace and you don't move in. When I do business with someone, I want value for value first, and
Mm,
we'll talk money later if it comes. Like if we're both in a place. Um, but I'm on Instagram. You can follow me, but I do requests now, and it's not to be mean. It's not to be, oh, he thinks he's special or anything. I'm 25. I'm 26. I do not come for money. I work hard for everything.
mm.
Everything. I do not have the mental space at, us being our, how old are you? If you don't mind me
I'm
asking.
gonna turn 28 in April.
Very nice. See, in our young or going on to our 30s, we do not have time to
Hmm.
deal with everybody saying you're a fucking
Got to
conspiracy.
protect yourself. Your
Yeah, man.
energy
And
is
like,
vital.
and I'm in Nashville, Tennessee, and I have meanies always like, because you're trans and you're a minority, you have to think this way.
Mm,
And they're petty. I don't have time for that. I move in silence.
there you
I'm
go.
I'm cautionate with few. I have people say all the time, you only have 300 something followers now. Yeah, I used to have about 1,000 and I took out like maybe 300 to 400. I did not care. I do not care. I need peace. I want to network with you and I'll go. And if you're like, hey, I'm getting a lot of hate on my page because people call me transphobic. And I know damn well you're not because you talk to me, you follow me, you listen to what I have to say. That's not transphobic. How are you transphobic when you have someone who is trans on your show? Huh? How is that homophobic? Let's meet somebody in the middle and appreciate what they have to say. The other day, I got in a whole argument with somebody over this on the internet, over LGBTQI, whatever. And I just used reverse psychology. I said, you're so homophobic. And you called me a girl. You said, my opinion doesn't matter. I use the same shit they'll say to me.
Hmm.
My voice don't matter. Who cares what I am? I don't have time for that. Mm-mm. So it's all your friends are. Is it all your hour? Because I have two now. I'd like accidentally. I didn't want nobody to steal my name, so I trademarked both.
My
I
phone
made
is not next to me. I
it
would double
is.
check for you, but
It
we'll
is
we'll definitely
your.
get the correct one in the show notes for you.
It is all
All
your
your
friends are.
friends are
Yes,
brainwashed.
all hours is my personal one.
Well,
But I
maybe
do.
that's a perfect segue then. Like, Julian,
Yeah.
are all your friends still brainwashed? Like, have you been able to kind of like get through to the ones who were like, what's the status with that since you've kind of
You know,
adopted that moniker?
I kind of feel like a dick now for having it because when we grow, right? When we grow, we go
Mm,
through this phase, this conspiracy phase. We go through like, oh, I'm waking up, right? I'm learning. Then you go
right.
through paranoia. Then you learn some more, and then you go through this like phase of you think you're better than everybody, and you don't
Mm,
mean to be. You're like these fucking dumbasses. They don't know shit,
mm,
and it can actually swallow you whole. You can hyper fixate on that, because all of us as adults, we're trying to find groups,
mm-hmm.
people who are like obsessed with like the vid. It was a bunch of adults wanting little groups, like
Mm-hmm.
who's cool, who agrees with this narrative, who agrees with that narrative.
It's
So,
natural tribalism right there.
yeah, natural tribalism. So I think it'd be, kind of in that direction.
Mm.
Answers it correctly.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there's a couple interesting things going on, and I know recently, I don't know if it was like a month ago or so, but there was a very unsettling and strange video put out, and just I'll preface it by saying that the topic in the quote unquote conspiracy community of transhumanism has gone around quite a lot in a bunch of different ways. Especially
Yeah.
when you throw Elon Musk into this mix, and we'll definitely touch on him later. But there was a video about this company that developed these birthing pods, and that parents no longer have to suffer the natural dangers and pains of childbirth. They could have a machine do it for them. And I'm pretty sure I could speak for most people to say that it was very unsettling, and it feels like this company, although they might be doing something beneficial for humanity in some fashion for those people who would benefit from having one of these machines, but at the same time I felt very unsettled that there was some spiritual element being sucked out of this process that could never be put back into place. And I'm curious where you stand on that, or if you have any opinions or thoughts on this
So
concept.
they can make a birthing, so they can make an electro, because if you have to have a baby, the sperm like it's like a shock. That
Mm-hmm.
was like God's divine spark, right? That's what
Right.
it was about. That don't make no sense. So it doesn't have the divine spark then. So it wouldn't. That's weird. I don't like it. And of course, you shouldn't like it. That's dumb. Do you see the way they're like, "Oh, you want a new eye?
Mm,
You never have to worry about going old." And they curated this in such a brilliant way with like the Kardashians and how men are. You notice how all men now are supposed to be hunkalicious dudes, kind of like, you know, that's not natural. A dad
mm,
bod is, where all women are supposed to be these thin waist, fat asses. That's not natural. I mean, it
mm,
is in certain parts of the world, but it's not as a whole. It's not that like picture perfect woman is not natural. They
right.
want to scare us into being like cyberpunk 2020, 2040, whatever, 70,
Yeah, right,
whatever the
right.
hell, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's weird to me, like the bionic eye, and oh, it's good for you, a new liver, a new heart, a new brain, a new consciousness.
Mm,
I don't know. I don't know. But it really it's so heartbreaking that people actually want to do that. Like they can't.
mm,
But that's why in the Bible it said that not all will come, only few will.
mm.
So that's on you, big baby. That's all I got.
That's on you. That's on you. Yeah, I mean,
On me.
just out of curiosity, because I definitely vibe with the teachings of Christ, and I think that being able to follow in a great teacher's footsteps is really core to the process of growing up. And I think, as a high school teacher, I'm teaching 10th grade English right now. And
Oh, that's dope.
thanks, man. Yeah,
Congratulations.
thank you. And, I feel like sometimes school, at least public school where I'm working, doesn't always provide that mentor to mentee relationship or that sort of like
Yeah,
inspirational guidance because
because it wasn't made for.
right, right. I'm preparing them for a standardized test. Christ prepares you for the test, right? So I would
Yeah.
love to hear you kind of spell out if there was a journey. Were you always, raised Christian? I know
Yeah, my
you
parents are.
moved from Romania, right?
Yep.
So would you like to kind of explain this process that you've come to build a relationship with Christ?
I feel like I've been all over the place with it, and it's something I've been thinking about recently. I want to, how I, let me take a minute to think about how I want
Sure.
to say
Yeah.
that. So I grew up really religious. So when people are like, oh, you're trans, no. I came here when I was 3. Okay, so I got adopted at 7.5 months. I came here when I was 3. I've lived here since. My parents are extremely Orthodox. Orthodox are old. It ain't no fun Baptist worship. No, you
Mm,
around a bunch of mothball smelling people with beautiful aromas and like very beautiful like paintings.
mm,
And it's a judgy, and Romanians are judgy. And it was hard. I came, my parents have high standards. I did not come from a silver spoon. I came from you work hard for everything you get you. We don't even go out to eat, man, and I got like secondhand everything, but they had enough, always enough for me to be successful. But like, so I grew up, like my parents brainwashed me into being like, if you're gay, that's bad. You're going to hell. And I used to cry about it. Like, you will fuck up your kids if you touch. Why would you tell your kid that?
mm.
It's scary. It hurts. It's like, oh, I used to cry about it. Like, God doesn't love
Can be deadly.
me. Yes, I really had an actual anxiety about it. And my mom, when she used to be ignorant, she used to spit on the ground. She says to this day she did not do it, but she did. We were in Quebec, Canada, and she see two lesbians walking. I was like, "Mommy, look, two lesbians." And she's like, "Ugh, puh," and she
Oh
spit on the
man.
ground. And I was like,
Yeah.
I was looking at her like, "Why would you do that? Like, you're supposed to be a good person." And which
Mm,
is fine. Like again, like I can understand you weren't raised like that, and you're ignorant, but and you don't
yeah.
know better because and here we gonna piss a lot of people off. And
Let's
I'm sorry,
go.
we're not about to piss off just the liberals. We about to piss off the Christians. You and I'm so sorry. I'm so but it's true, okay? Orthodox and Catholic is Luciferian ideology. Who killed Jesus? Who killed
Mm,
Jesus? You know
let's
who
think
killed
about
Jesus.
this. Let's think about
You know who killed Jesus, okay? Right? Who helped Hitler? Oh, them
mm.
motherfuckers in that motherfucking house. What the fuck? To the point where what them Irish people were like, we don't want this Catholic ideology in our whole country. They have a history of blasphemy. Then they put your guy on a stake, and they were like, yeah, I wouldn't want my naked body on a stake. They
Mm.
do that. They changed your face. Okay. They changed your face from some fucking psychopathic, I don't know what king was like, I love Jesus so much, I'm going to make him look like me. They blasphemized his message because the dude, when he was alive, he said, "Do not." I don't know how more clear this could get for
Mm.
people. I'm sorry, I get mad,
Oh, it's good.
but he said, "Do not make a book about me. I don't want a religion. Just do this shit. It is love. What don't you understand? Are you incompetent?" He couldn't even make it more clear. Fuck off. Like, dude, seriously. He was just about love. If he had a
Mm.
problem with you, he'd come up to you and be like, "Hey, not these little Bible thumping people are like, come to your house. Do you want to talk about Jesus? I'll tell you your blasphemy. I've told
Mm.
my Last year, my priest said, "Why don't you come to church anymore?" I said to him, "Because you're blasphemy. You don't know about Jesus." He said, I said, "Do you talk about Enoch? Do you know who Enoch is?"
Mm.
"No." "Oh, do you know about the Nephilim?" That is key. Like, if God gives you a rule book and he's like, "Yeah, I sent down these angels. They gave you astrology, herbology, medicine, everything
Mm-hmm.
you need to for you to survive because you didn't want bliss, right? Bliss wasn't enough for you. And that's cool. That's fine. You don't want bliss? Bet. I'm going to make an unnecessary evil. You get to pick. And if you want to be with me, you can break out of the firmament. You get to break out of here where ships can't go and you can be with me. Or if you do want to be evil, you're going to repeat a cycle. That's why all demon sigils are circles. If you look at
Mm-hmm.
any sigil of a demon, they're circle. Angel sigils are linear. They're
Interesting.
linear.
Yeah.
That's fucking interesting. This is their playground. But what, so I grew up, scared. And then I grew up dumb because I was extremely fucking liberal. I was like,
Relatable. I'm a
if
recovering vegan as well. Can you believe that?
yeah, dude, like if you voted for Trump, and then like mm, that whole thing, he's a Trojan horse, and the fact that the
Mm.
statement of believe in Jesus. Remember when you drive around all over the USA and you would see trust in God, just in
Oh
Jesus.
yeah.
It's what now? What is now in those fucking Christians' houses? Trump 2020. You might as well jack off on your man's face. I'm so sorry, but stop, dude. Where and I'm mad. I have the right to be. This is my future.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
sold me. This is America. Okay, help me make it nice. You promised me this, didn't you, American boy? So
Mm.
let's make it nice. Let's trust in God and Yahshua. Second thing, okay, so I'm growing up. I'm really liberal. I'm yelling at everybody. I'm growing up some more. I'm understanding things. Let's fast forward to what, like 4 years ago, like 4 or 5, maybe 6 years ago, the riots are happening.
Mm.
Obama's like deporting everybody. Hillary Clinton's coming up. WikiLeaks, all this shit is just bombarded in my face. And I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. I get it. And I'm homeless since I'm 18 to almost maybe 4 years ago. I worked hard for everything I have, everything. My parents were like, okay, you want to be trans? It's not an easy life. You can't come to our house whenever you want. They kicked me out. I moved
Wow.
around. I
Yeah.
figured it out. They're
Mm.
supportive. They're just like, you can't, they're just old. They're dictatorship.
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole different subject. But what led me to Christ was trauma because every time I was at my lowest, every time I was confused, every time my parents turned their backs on me, they had good intentions. We're going to clarify that. They have good intentions, but
Right.
we're all a bunch of people trying to figure our shit out.
Absolutely.
And it's a lot easier when you let that shit go and you just, it's not excusing, but damn, like, just, let it be what it
Yeah,
is. So
it's
you
better
don't,
than carrying all that
yeah,
baggage
yeah.
around, that
And I'm not
weight.
doing
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not doing. I love myself. I'm not doing that. That's not my
Right.
promise with God, right? God is my daddy or mommy, whichever one it is.
Mm-hmm.
So what led me back to God was you brought up paranormal. This horrible
Yes.
paranormal experience I had, which is such a long story. If you want to go into that, we can segue to it.
Sure.
But I
Sure.
did have a genuine demonic experience. I exorcised a girl with the name of Jesus, to make a long
Wow.
story short. And
Yeah.
it's real. I will debate anybody to the end. But when I seen
Mm.
that, when I seen a real, when your soul is like, that's not human, or you experience something like, you can go and shoot somebody if they rob you, but when someone's possessed and something happens to you in this life that your consciousness cannot make real, I'm not an ignorant person or
Mm.
man, whatever. I'm not an ignorant person. I am going to accept that and be like, okay, if marks out of nowhere just willy-nilly are appearing on someone, there has to be something else.
Right.
If
Right.
that is real, there has to, and like I said, when I was at my lowest, my grandpa died when I was maybe 13. And for
Mm,
many years, I grew up without a grandpa, and I don't have a good male figure in my life. It's not why I'm trans, but I don't have a good male figure in my life, which is okay. And I cried enough to God. I was like, I need like I don't have good parental figures in the sense of emotional. I have fantastic caretakers, like work ethic
mm,
of stallion horses. You can work them to death, which I am grateful for.
yeah.
I don't want to sound rude or disrespectful, but when it came to the emotional side and like getting me, like understanding me, 3 years ago, I have been dealing with domestic abuse for the last 3 years, and I haven't told many people at all. I have made posts about it and I've deleted them very fast because
Mm,
how are you supposed to be transgender, and you're getting your shit rocked by a girl? How are you supposed to be anybody and you're getting your shit rocked by your significant other? And
mm.
I'm talking like the worst you could imagine. And one day after I dealt with a beating, I go outside and I'm in my car and I'm like, fuck God, like what did I do to deserve this? Like, there's no way, like, why? Now I understand it. You help people, and it's weird how God works. But there's this man coming out of his car. His name is Pat, and he had this like oxygen machine. I don't know who the hell he was. He was one of my neighbors
Mm.
at the time. And he has his oxygen machine. He's like fumbling around with his oxygen machine. It's going beep, 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 beep. And I'm looking at him through my window and I feel something be like, help this man. He's dropping his stuff. And I'm like, no, I have a black eye. Why would I want to help anybody? Like, fuck that. No, I get out of the car. I help him. And I help him get into his apartment. And the next day, excuse me, I get a note on my car and it's like, I still have this note to this day. It's like, my name is Pat. You're so sweet for helping me. When you helped me, my oxygen machine ran out of oxygen because he has severe cancer and like the cancer fucked up his lungs so bad he cannot breathe without it. And he was like, it went out of battery, and I told God, I'm not ready to die. Please send me an angel.
Wow. Yeah.
I know, it's weird. And that was weird too
It's got
because
chills.
again, I was getting abused for nearly 3 years, really two and a half. Um, fucking, and I was trying to figure out because my apartment was 1334, which are angel numbers. So I was like,
Mm.
this is what does this mean? This is really interesting. Then I meet him, and fast forward now, I have taken this man into my life. He's a full blown conspiracy theorist. His
Nice.
daddy was a 33-degree Mason in Tennessee, one of the biggest.
Ooh.
Uh-huh. Talk about synchronicity. Like, how is it that just me and someone who I do not know at all, and me and his granddaughter grew up together, and we had no idea. We have been around each other our whole
Ah,
lives, and now he is and he actually looks a lot like my grandpa.
it's
And
hidden
I
in
guess,
plain sight.
yeah, man, I guess God was like, okay, child, like I love you, and you do not deserve to. You no, when before ignorant people want to say this shit about gay, like, come on, dude, just take a second and think about how we feel. Like, come
Mm.
on, it is not easy. Nothing is easy in this life. So give a fucking sliver of humanity to somebody
Right. Right.
before you're in their shoes. So that's what got me into Christ is all this trauma on trauma on trauma on trauma on trauma. And hey, if I wasn't supposed to be this way, why am I so successful and doing my shit and I'm backed up by Christ? And anytime someone messes with me, their life goes to shit tenfold. And that's not no joke.
Mm.
That's not no joke at all. But the thing with Christianity is just I know God through trauma, right? Jesus before he was murdered, and if he even got murdered, who knows at this point? Everything is a lie. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna believe into anything that I can't feel. And if they rewrote all them books and the Catholic Church owns all this shit, how do you even know what we're reading? And it breaks my heart. Trust me, I can really understand where a lot of your listeners are gonna get a little frustrated, but put down your ego for a sec and just try to understand that there's a really big possibility that even our beloved Bible is not, unless you know how to read Hebrew, honey, it ain't the same, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
It's
they
been
changed the
edited
dude's
so many
name.
times. Yeah.
What's your name, real quick? If you
Jake.
don't. All right, Jake. If I refer to you as Jaritza for the rest of your life,
Mm.
would you be mad at me?
Jaritza is
To
not my name.
everybody.
I might
Okay.
put up with it just like to humor you, but like eventually I'd be like, man, like that's
Yeah, and I
yeah.
and I introduced everybody. I introduced you as Jaritza to everybody, right? I didn't care how you felt, right?
Mm,
Your name is fucking Jaritza, not Jake. It matters, right?
mm,
Right. So why did they replace his goddamn name?
mm.
Like, how much more brainwashing do we need? It doesn't mean he's not real. Like, let's get all of the haters quick in the DM with this guy is so ignorant. No, dude. No, we have to think logical. I'm not ignorant because I know Christ when I'm alone, and that's none of your business. I know
Mm-hmm.
Christ when I need him. I know my angels, and I don't move with sin. Okay, queer people, if they really are of the devil, the demons will come in your life and make you do drugs, make you go to glory holes, make you do like all sorts of weird shit you don't do. Like gay
Mm.
men are fucking filthy. The ones who struggle with like substance abuse and like bad things, that is filthy, you know. That is where sin, and that's where you get all this Balenciaga shit and this like they're
Right.
trying to indoctrinate our children. Those are not like your everyday what's going on right here right now situation. I'm just trying to live my life. I'll
Yeah.
let you speak now because I spoke for a second. Sorry.
Well, I there is so much to pull out of that, Julian, and I just want
Yeah.
to say I
Sorry.
respect you, man, because like there's everything that you've said is verifying or validating for myself that when I was listening to you on other podcasts, I could tell that you were centered in your heart. And so I appreciate that this path has led you to the realization that, yeah, I mean, we're all going to go on a different path. We're all going to be referred to by different names. We're not going to be all like ants in an ant colony, right? Like we're all
Yeah.
individuals, and it's cool that you've been able to ground yourself in this loving presence. And it's interesting now that you've brought up the fact that, well, in some cases, people misunderstand these symbols, like you said. So, like, for one example, addiction can be manifesting as sort of like a demonic possession, or
one hundred
like
percent.
someone could be like captured by a demon in the form of an addiction, and that could be misunderstood. Calling addiction a disease could be misunderstanding, and
Yeah.
it's interesting that there's different ways to approach this. And with that being said, there's another symbol that is often misrepresented, and I'm asking you because I don't fully understand it. I know this symbol of the Baphomet has been ascribed, or it's been put side by side against evil forces. Like, I'll give you one more example before I turn it back over to you. The rapper that you mentioned earlier, Little Uzi Vert, right?
Yeah.
Like, Little Uzi Vert is Lucifer,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Those concepts and the Baphomet, all the above, they are interesting in some ways. I'm trying to grasp their meaning and uncover the fact that mainstream culture or normie culture has decided that they're all evil. And I want to hear, how would you unpack those concepts, especially the Baphomet?
Well, let's try to start with NDAs and why NDAs are important. Have you ever done any research on like near death experiences and what all the people say?
Yeah, I'll just quickly mention. I don't know if you know the Skeptical podcast, Alex Sakaris.
Mm-mm.
I
No, I
got
don't.
lucky enough to do so. I was working for a Christian publishing company called Guidepost, and they
Okay.
set me on a project to study NDEs. And a lot of my research was
Dope.
listening to the Skeptical podcast and transcribing and getting things down. But yeah, NDEs are fascinating, especially if you put DMT into the equation as well. But go
Yes.
on. Yeah.
A lot of what they say is they say one case that I really was obsessed with is that one murderer who killed like I think like 32 women or like I don't know 30 to like 80. And he had an NDA. Like they tried to kill him on the chair and then he came back and he was like I never understood all the pain I caused people. So
Mm,
when you die, you can have an ego here. This is what we have an ego. And this relates back to what you just asked.
mm-hmm.
Because when you're dead, you don't have an ego. You can understand everything. So, how are you to say what is good and what is bad? These old deities, if you call on them, it is as simple as that. This is their job. This is what they do. It's not bad. You think it's bad. We make it bad. He didn't understand that when he was in this world killing when he had his NDA or near death experience, yeah, his NDA, he understood both sides. He understood exactly what he was doing. We get so caught up in ego we don't understand. So we call anything like when the Roman Catholic Church rewrote the Bible and said that all sorts of meditations are evil. Sir, no, they are not. Intention, man. They say, "Oh, don't smoke because then you open a channel." Yes, but no. If you're protected, you can do remarkable. If you are made in God's image, why would God come make you with limitations? Hmm?
Mm,
You know,
yeah.
you're all of that. And once you, I believe, because I don't want to generalize. Once you decide, okay, do I want to play this game? And I don't like the simulation word. That's retarded. We're not in
Mm,
that yet. We're not. That's what they want.
yeah.
That's a cheat
Right.
sheet.
Right.
That's why
Right.
they're doing this fucking fuck
Mm,
shit. They want that cheat sheet, but this is real
it's
still.
mental preparation.
Yeah, man. Like while I'm here, I'm gonna try to make the best of it. And I'm
Mm,
gonna decide to be a good person, right? But when it comes to my money, how I want to look on the outside, dude, if I want blue hair and to wear face paint for the rest of my life, shut up. Because if I'm the guy with all the ammunition in my house, which I am, and I do jujitsu and I know how to protect you, and I'm young, so I can run faster than you, Bob, who's 65, judging me. I'm gonna save your kid's life, and I'm not gonna be there like, should I save Bob's life because Bob hurt my feelings and called me my girl name? No, I'm going to help you because
mm,
that is inherently who I am.
mm. To
And
the
that's
core.
my answer. Yeah,
To the
man,
core.
like to the core, and
Yeah.
that's your choice. And I like doing good. I get so happy when I do good. I want to do good.
Mm. You know,
And
you've given me this kind of like mental image. So like, I'll just throw this out there in case, people didn't really grasp the concept. Like, with a symbol like Baphomet, we're looking at duality, the dual split or like a dual
yes,
joining. And you've given me this mental image with that scenario where you're saving someone's life. It's like I don't necessarily believe, like you were saying, in good or evil. It's like one or the other, this
yeah,
duality, this dualistic view. It's almost like we're playing this game, right? Let's say it's like Pokemon on the Game Boy or Skyrim or something like that. And like
Skyrim,
you
yeah.
have so many different directions you could go in. It's not just like you're going up or down, left or right. Like the landscape has opened up in every single direction, including your inner landscape. And
Yeah.
it's interesting that, well, perhaps we can readjust our view so that we don't see people as those who I agree with and those who I disagree with. It's really nice
Yeah.
to come back to that kind of center place. And I think that's what's missing in the cultural dialogue. And speaking of the cultural dialogue, Julian, I did hear you on a wonderful podcast once talk about the man, the myth, the legend, Elon Musk, and I'm curious. I'm curious if you were to approach his rise to fame in a very peculiar way recently on Twitter and what's going on everywhere else with the Twitter files and his form of disclosure. Like I think today there were brought to you by Pfizer documents released, and it's endlessly fascinating to me. Not really choosing a side of like whether he's good or evil, but just watching what he's doing is
What? You
interesting.
can't decide,
I
sir.
might sit on the fence until it hurts too much and I'll just
What?
fall off.
That man
But
is a Trojan
Trojan
horse.
horse, okay, so
Come
similar to
on.
Trump. Tell us, please.
Man, he's got, well, listen, I have a saying, like, you can't trust anybody who's really outside of your tax bracket, dude. If you
Mm,
didn't grow up like me, what do you know? And like, Romania is the head in all Marvel movies. What do they do in Romania? What do you as an American, what do you ever heard about Romania? What do you know it
Romania.
for, other than a vampire?
Yeah, I mean, like, other than I guess you're referring to Dracula, right?
No, dude, hybrid babies.
Hybrid. Oh, okay. Is this like
Every
an area where
time.
cloning is legal or that kind of thing?
Yeah, well, Romania had that thing in 2001 after our dictator died. We had an influx of orphans, right?
Oh,
And then the
yeah.
orphans didn't have anywhere to go. And then we had a HIV outbreak where we have a whole like underground civilization of just people underneath the street who have HIV. So same thing with the border thing that people get confused. If I want to kill you and rob you, I'm gonna kill you with a ghost gun. I'm gonna kill you with someone who don't have fingerprints, blood, DNA, teeth, anything in the country, right?
Mm,
Hybrid baby, hybrid human. nowhere in medical documents, nowhere at all traceable, and they're poor and nobody cares about them, and you can kill their family and who gives a fuck because they're poor, nobody cares. So why would I trust a man who's been to some of the most elite government buildings and seen some shit? And then did you, bro, come on, I'm gonna judge you for a second. You saw his girlfriend and you really thought that man was good in the head?
Even beyond that, his girlfriend is one thing, but his
Yes.
photo with Jelaine Maxwell also bothers
Yes,
me
like
deeply.
his jacket, like it's in his. He's a mason, right?
Right,
Let me try
right.
to help you with that, dude.
Got
Like
the hand
everything
in his
that is,
pocket, right?
yeah, everything is up, is down. They actually, they. I know, because I get it. Like we're cynical, right? We would. Why would we want to? But we're good people. Why would we want to believe that all these fuckers are here? Because then it makes us feel like, damn, is anyone gonna have her back?
Hmm.
That's what they want you to think. It ain't no trust in Jesus, Yahshua, Buddha, whatever your beautiful heart desires. That is, I could say, and it can be Jesus. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If it's love, I could whisper, I could sing, I could move. But like these people that were being presented, I just don't got a good feeling about them because, like I said, you've been at some of the most secure places, and you have a chance. You could make the whole system crumble, but you're not. You're playing game,
Hmm.
and you've seen shit, you've done shit. You need a Trojan horse, and they're always going to try to find a Trojan horse. I don't know. Something in my bones just tell me this fool is like an evil villain, like in real life. Same thing as Bezos. Both of them are
Oh
fucking.
yeah. Yeah. No, I think you're onto something. It's I'm glad I set that up in a way to kind of like bring out the fact that it could be easy for most people to be like, oh yeah, he's a good guy, he's doing the right thing. But really, like if history has been repeating itself and if we're in this like cyclical nature of time itself, then
They
like
loved Hitler.
right. Like in the
Mm-hmm.
beginning, he was loved. So it's like this could
Mm-hmm.
go anywhere. This could go in the darkest direction.
And you
And
saw they shut off half the world. It makes you think they can't play game however they want.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Amen to that.
I
Yeah.
got into it with my dad the other day. Like if I haven't mentioned, my parents come from Romania, where Ceausescu. They lived through a dictator. They got told what the hell to do.
Mm,
And if you want to take it a step further, my bloodline, my heritage are gypsy. The Atsiganis, the gypsies from even Hitler hated us. There
mm,
was an eradication of the world in the name of Jesus. They came at the Holocaust, man, did not happen for what you think it happened. It was a crucifixion of anybody who wanted to question the norm.
mm,
Anything that had to do with Enoch had to be obliterated. The giants incinerated. You being God and being spiritual and divine and being smart and being a magnet. No, no, no. You can't think that, because if you think that, you're a threat. And from the dawn of time, Romania has been shat on. And Tataria was there. But
you just read my
but
mind. I was about to ask you about that.
I actually asked my mom about that. I said, "Mom, do you know anything about?" Because she can be closed minded on certain shit. You know,
Mhm.
going through a dictatorship, you're actually brainwashed. She knows about Tataria. They taught it to them in school and shit.
So when you asked her, did you have to be like, "Oh, mom, this is Tartari," or like she
Nope,
already
nope,
knew what
no,
you were
no,
talking about?
bro. She knew everything.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. She knew that it was Romania was part of it. Hungary was part of it. Ukraine. That's why they're in Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
But Putin released those files. What, a few months ago? He was like, "Oh, you pissed me off, so I'm gonna release the Tataria files." But what I got into it with my dad about was, excuse me, he said, "Oh, are you gonna vote?" And I looked at him. I was like, "No, Dad, I'm not gonna vote." He was like, "Why?" And I said, "Really? Genuinely, why? Bush didn't teach you anything. Hillary didn't teach you anything. Obama didn't teach you anything. Reagan did. I mean, if you really sit here, like, and take the ego out of the booty, please. If you really do sit here and you think about it, they have been calling the shots on every president. Like, I used to
Mm,
look at some of those adults who are like, everything's rigged and da da da. And I used to be like, oh, well, that's kind of stupid. But
mm,
Obama, Hillary, Bush, Reagan, Clinton, Biden, and Trump. Just they literally put anybody who they fucking want on there, and they can really convince. They really convince us, like because we fell for it. They really convince us that there's a choice. I looked at him. I was like, Dad, didn't you throw a Mazel Tov at Ceausescu's like building? He was like, Yeah, because my dad went to the riots. My dad was the
badass. Yeah.
OG. But he was like, "Yo, it matters," and I'm like, "But Dad, like it doesn't. I mean, look who's Biden's in there. Everybody wanted Trump. Like, it's a mirage. It's a show." I said, "Do you remember what happened in Tennessee a few months ago? This man got shot. What was it, 15 or 12 times on the highway with traffic because he had a box knife in his hand. You shot and gunned down a man with a box knife,
Yikes.
having a mental
Yikes.
breakdown." I was like, that could have been me.
Oh my God.
That could have been your best friend. That could have been your friend who's getting cancer treatment and he's losing his shit because his wife cheated on him or blah, blah,
Mm,
blah, blah, a plethora.
yeah.
That's where that saying that you just said earlier, start local, grow global. That is exactly
Mm.
what that means.
Right, right. And yeah, it's, someone in that situation needs to be understood. And
Mm-hmm.
it's oh man, yeah, that is a very serious issue for sure. And it's interesting to think, well, if we put ourselves in a position where we've got all of our stuff taken care of as young adults. We're doing
Yeah.
our absolute best, doing the 9 to 5 and trying to save and this and that. And then you run across someone like Pat, the man with the oxygen, or whomever, and you're ready. You're ready to help them. You're always in a state of preparedness. And I wanted to ask you, in the spirit of being prepared and being ready for anything, I wanted to ask you about when you mentioned earlier your paranormal experiences. I would love to hear this story. And I also, if you would like to share, how do you feel like you've approached reality differently after having these experiences? Like, how do you feel better prepared for the occult or the esoteric forces of this world after having experienced them yourself?
Well, I don't like seeing like Smile fucked me up when I saw Smile.
Oh, I can't believe you actually watched that, dude. That is brave. That
Yeah.
is brave.
Yeah, I seen it because my ex is really into horror, but
Hmm.
it messed with me because that's true. Like demons hopping into your loved ones.
Hmm.
Dude, just people are so dumb with Ouija boards. I'm just cautious now, man, because I got told straight to my face by the people who helped me. I had some shamans come by or some witches, and because I didn't know no priest. Who you calling? You calling somebody, right? Who's high vibration to try to help with it. Nobody is really like ready to deal with that. So I got told, if you keep on fucking with this shit, you are gonna see something you are never going to unsee. I've seen things, so I am since I'm gypsy, I read tarot, I read palms, I can read a flame. I like since I was little, I did not grow up in a house. I'm saying this for your people, in a household of any kind of tomfoolery of witchcrafts. Okay, think orthodox, think judgy, think like clean cut,
Hmm.
not even incense.
Not even
But
incense, my
no, my
friends.
mama is. She's OCD. No, no, sir, man. She would not
Hmm.
do that. I would see things when I was little. I would see things. I had like one experience where like there's a thing on me when I was little, and I was like, "Dracula's on me," and now I understand that was like that thing where you can't get up out of your sleep. What is that called in English?
Sleep paralysis.
Sleep paralysis. I had that. I had like these two sliding doors in my room, and I'd always see things like pop in the mirror,
Hmm.
like over my head, and I'd see fuzzy creatures. So I'm trying to like really water it down. Spirituality found me.
Hmm.
Like it really did. When I was younger, I even had a good friend named Priye, and her dad was a priest from, I'm talking African, Nigerian, beautiful.
Yeah.
But her daddy worked for, remember when you were younger and you watch that TV show at night where you could call in and pray, and there was that crazy one Christian dude, and he would be like, "I feel pray for Jesus,"
Hmm.
and yeah, and they would, but he worked for that hotline, but for the particular department that would exercise people because they have that.
Over the phone?
Yeah, they have that, and you can call and
Damn.
be
Okay.
exercised, and you can start throwing up profusely. So I met people who like were exorcists, and then we'll get into the story. So I am 19 years old. I moved to Spring Hill, Tennessee. You can look up Spring Hill Ripa Villa Plantation. It is the Tennessee's most haunted attractions, the top
Hmm.
10. I didn't know this. I'm trying to smoke when I'm younger, and I see this barn, and I'm attracted to this barn when I'm like when I go over there a few times to go with a family to look at the house, I see this barn. I'm like, that's cool. I go over there, I smoke, some shit falls. I'm like, what the fuck was that? I go home. This is like trying to shorten everything. I go home, I start arguing with my significant other. I have a ghost box that I use, and I'm like, is there someone here? And something's like, yes, there's someone here. So that's not enough proof for me. So I get this weird gut feeling to Google where I was, right? So I Google where I was, and I from there see that it was the battlefield of the Ripa Villa plantation where the Franklin and Brentwood fought each other.
Mm.
The Battle of Franklin and the Battle of Spring Hill. Not Brentwood, the Battle of Franklin, the Battle of Spring Hill. So I called the library and she was like, that's what was there. And I was like, oh my God. So something else tells me, go to there. So I go there, shit leaves me alone. So I was guessing maybe it was an entity that wanted to be with their soldiers or someone there and they
Mm.
fought there and maybe like they're, I don't know, but it left me alone. I didn't feel the shit in my house. So I go there. That's where I have my first like auditorial paranormal experience. Like when I was little, I did Ouija boards. I dated a witch who made their eye color change, but like you're cynical. So you think like maybe you were tripping.
Mm.
Your
Mm.
brain does not want because you are brainwashed to believe that this is bad or not unnatural. But I heard me and my girlfriend at the time, and then this kid we were babysitting, we heard all of us, three of us, a little girl giggle. We walk around where the fountain is around the wall. There's no kids there. There's no kid on the tour at the plantation. Okay. Fast forward a few months, I do a tour. We see some shit. We see my ex-girlfriend sees a shadow. I see some stuff. I hear a dog bark. Again, nothing set in stone. Still, your mind can find a way to be like, that's not real. Fast forward a few years later, I'm dating another girl, right? Because I'm a hoe. I'm just joking. I date another
Mm.
female. And I should never date this woman. Do not, please don't ever date an atheist. They're not they're not worth your time.
It's
You'll
not
never,
as fun. I'll just say
you,
that. Yeah.
yeah, you can't work out with someone who doesn't believe in faith or just in life. They're horrible people. Sorry. Fight me. You can DM me and like be mad all day.
Life's too short not to piss a couple people off.
Yeah. So I dated this atheist and she's like, I don't believe in God or nothing. And I was like, I bet you I could change that like a dummy because I'm young. Okay. So I take her to the plantation. Right. Now I've had a lot, and I'm summarizing here. I've had loads of experiences. More, if I sat here and tried to name them all for you, it would be all your time. I should have taken her to the goddamn cemetery part of the property, but I didn't. I took her to the fucking slave cabins.
Oh
Okay,
God.
so I know. So I take her to the slave cabins, right? Should we get there? We drive up, she's looking. She's like, okay, no, that's kind of creepy. I'm like, yeah. And then out of nowhere, she's like, Julie and I see dead people. And I'm like, bitch, stop playing with me. You're a liar. And she's like, no, I do, and they don't like you. And I look at her and I'm like,
That escalated quickly.
yeah, I'm like, yeah, dude, yes, right. I'm like, well, you're bullshit. Like, stop, because you're actually gonna hurt my feelings that you're thinking this is funny, type of thing.
Mm.
And while I'm saying this, three scratch marks just appear on the side of her neck.
Oh
Appear.
my God.
And I'm not gonna sit here and try to fucking convince anybody. It happened. God damn it. It
Mm.
happened. So much so that I'm looking at them. I'm like, oh, that's the first thing I think. I'm like, fuck. And she's like, Julian, I'm scared. What's that? She's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, nothing. I walk around to the back of her. Three more scratch marks around the back of her neck. Her hair is up so I could see her neck. And I'm like, oh, they appear. This woman did not scratch herself. She did not have
Mm.
an itch. Her hands were by her side. Swear on everything. We'll walk around here some more, like side of the neck, left, back, right. I'd like to the right side. Three more scratch marks.
God.
When I'm face to face, three more scratch marks on her fucking throat. So she's got fucking 2, 4, 6, 8 fucking scratch marks on her person. I freak out. I'm like, fuck this. We get in the car. I'm like, get in the car. Let's go.
Mm.
You you don't know what the fuck to do. So I'm freaking out. Now, before any of this happened, I should have mentioned Chuck. There's a man there, and you can actually look up Ripavilla on YouTube. You will see Chuck that will introduce Chuck. Right, there's a big white guy. He has blonde hair, crystal, beautiful, and white mustache. And he's actually a Mason. Coincidental, huh? But
Always a
anyway,
fun time.
and his wife is like the fucking head of the Spring Hill Sheriff's Department. But whatever.
Mm,
Anyways, this man like teaches me about the paranormal because at Ripavilla Plantation, you can do paranormal hunts. They offer it every other month. You can bring it. Yep. So hey, if you're
okay.
ever, I wouldn't tell you to do it because I think it's a new Skinwalker
Yeah, I
Ranch.
don't hear you
Don't
endorsing
do
this,
it.
but yeah, you're just,
Yeah,
filling in the
yeah.
details. Yeah.
Yeah, let me caution it because it actually used to be very peaceful. Like when I first found it, it was actually the most like you could tell like past lives were there and they were
Mm,
happy, right? They had like some
yeah.
sort of code. No,
Okay.
seriously, like they had like they were very calm. They would not present you wouldn't hear shit all day if they didn't
Mm,
want you to. Like they were very particular on who they would present themselves to. But Chuck told me that something happened when a medium went there one time that the natives, because there were natives on the land too. So you got native energy, slave energy, and fucking killing Confederate energy all on one. It is a clusterfuck of shit.
right, right. Very chaotic, I bet.
He told me something changed. So do not go there because I genuinely do believe that when you have that much stuff, things can get, and you don't know who went there and conjured up something because
Mm,
people are crazy in the South. They do like rituals.
right, right.
And you don't know what Mason had that place in their bloodline, and you just don't know. You just
Mm,
don't know. But something has changed because when I took this fucking dumb atheist there, she just on the day, all times, no possessions happen. I would smoke weed back there, no problem, no problem. Still mad to this day about it. But so we're driving, and this her demeanor would be like like butch lesbian, like guyish, right? And
mm.
then out of nowhere, she was smoking a cigarette, and it changed to proper, like
Weird.
change,
Yeah.
like her, and she like brought on this accent, right?
Mm,
And if you know South, like it was historically correct, like mannerisms,
mm,
accent, the way she smoked a cigarette, everything was like historically correct. And again, I specify I didn't know any, but now I do. Now I know. Hey, viewers, listeners, if you ever are in a demonic, please don't introduce yourself to the spirit. Don't do that. You're not supposed to do that. I didn't know that. Don't shake its hand. Don't talk to it.
mm.
Okay, even if it's like I've got your honey, ignore it. Okay, ignore it. Don't say anything other than I am bounded by the blood of Christ. I wear the shield of Christ. This is Christ's child. I don't get creative. I don't know. I fucking shook its hand. I shook its hand. I'm driving up to where the little like gift shop is, because that's when you first enter.
Mm.
There's a house, there's a gift shop. I run in there. I'm like, Chuck, she got possessed. This man, dude, I thought we were friends, bro. Like, I should seriously go back to this day and like bitch him out for it because that is no, like, seriously, I should like write a review or something. Don't go here because what happens if someone gets possessed and like this demon just kills you at night? Because like
Mm.
you're suicidal, right? You're low frequency, you're low vibration, you're suicidal, and you go there for a wedding venue and like you take your life and nobody knows, huh?
Right.
It's that bad. So he tells me, say this prayer. You 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 want me to just say a prayer and say, oh, that's fine. I don't think you understand me. There are physical slashes on her neck, and you I'm fucked.
You might need something a little stronger than a prayer, I would
Y-
assume. Yeah.
yeah, dude. Like this is what you're managing, dude. Like this doesn't whatever. So I leave. This is a vegan. This girl's a vegan of like I don't know how many years, like maybe 4 years. And again, this thing like speaks to her. She goes from like normal, like slouching to position again, proper position, speaking in a weird ass way, like and she's like, "Get me a burger. I want a burger right now,
Whoa.
a juicy burger."
Totally out of character.
Why? Anybody knows that if you do that, you're gonna. Who would want to actually hurt their stomach that way,
Mm.
right? Because that's what happens after 3 years, like annihilation of
Yeah,
shit.
yeah. Especially a burger. Yeah.
So she forces me to take her to get a burger. We got at the time I'm homeless, so I'm working at Burger King, and she's the manager of Burger King. We go over there, we go on our shift. I call my friend. I'm like, dude, Kira's possessed. Oh, you know what? Should I not her say? It's not her last name. She can suck it. Kira's possessed. Kay's possessed, right? Can you get in trouble for that? I don't know. Kay's possessed, right? Kay's possessed. She's like, what? I'm in Murfreesboro. I can't be there yet. But my dad's a shaman. I'm gonna call him, see what's up. We'll be there soon. You have to make it through the hours we're shooting a movie. I'm like, okay, all right. So that's the only person I know like who's spiritual like that, like actually spiritual.
Someone who could help you out. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because excuse me, let me get a pastor on, and I highly doubt a pastor really knows. Nobody really knows how to handle this because
Nah.
again, I would go to church if they taught real
You
shit.
need a
And
shaman like outside of the church. Yeah.
you need that, and then you need love, man. You gotta like
Yeah.
really move with
Yeah.
love
Right.
because you can say it all day long, but it doesn't mean you possess the power.
Mm.
So I'm talking to her on the phone. I swear to you, as soon as I hang up, she screams out, "No dodge!" Oh! Let me take it back. So before any of this happens, right, where when we're going up to the convenience shop, when she introduces herself out of nowhere, this is a liberal girl. Like I'm talking
Mm.
like kind of one of them BLM people, which
Mm.
is whatever. But she screams out like wouldn't say NIGGA. I say it all the time because I grew up in the hood, and I ain't gonna say it on your show, but
Sure. Sure.
all right. But she said NIGGER.
Ooh.
NIGGR lover, NIGGR lover, brown winch, brown winch, NIGGR lover, NIGGR lover, brown winch, brown
Oh,
winch.
is she saying this to you or?
Yes, that's what it said to me.
Oof.
Now, this was all this shit happened before I knew anything about my heritage. I am gypsy, meaning I'm like actual Atsigani. I am brown. Gypsies are not Caucasian. We come from India. We are brown people.
Mm.
And when fast forward when I did that spiritual podcast, not only can spirits communicate through you to you through like this this dimension, but they can also move balloons, right? And they can read a balloon and move it. If you listen to that episode, you'll learn about it around the end. But they know your heritage. They know your if you're Caucasian, black, white, or whatever. Because how would it know? I appear white. Like when you see my pictures, maybe like you think Latino or European, but most people who don't know culture think white, right? But
Mm.
it said NIGGER lover, brown wench. It knew I was gypsy.
Mm.
How? I wasn't even tanning around that ear. That was fascinating because
Yeah.
now I know like that this is my heritage. I'm Atsigani. This is my people. We were always enslaved, like, period. Like, Atsiganis are the same equivalent to African slaves. We were hand in hand. That's why you get all of this voodoo and spirit that comes from us. We were in every slave owner's house and everywhere being
Mm.
peasants. So we spread culture like wildfire, like fleas. So that happened. Okay. In the car, she says, "No Dodge. My best friend's name is Dodge." She don't know
Mm.
this. She don't know. She had no idea Dodge was her last name. None of that. I'm going to try to sum up this. We are at work. You're looking at maybe a 6 hour time period while all of this is going on. She gets another scratch. It
Oof.
appears. It appears on her wrist this
Was she
time.
awake this entire time? Like she
Yeah, no,
didn't go
she's
to sleep?
conscious, but this
Yeah.
thing is coming in and out of her, right?
Yeah.
Like, and before I could really understand, it was two things in one. It was a lady, and then it was a deity
Mm.
because this happened in front of my. She did not go to the bathroom. She did not carve anything in her skin, and the scratches healed the next day. So if she actually did have all those scratches on her neck, wouldn't they have been there?
Yeah, there'd be like a little bit of scarring, right?
None.
Mm.
It carved out in real time and I'm telling. I swear, I watched it carve out. Help me.
Oh
No,
wow.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
Something.
very layered then, right?
Yeah, she got something. Help me, right? So I figured maybe there's two things in one because she is low vibration. She is a Kay was an ex addict, an alcoholic, sex addict, a whole nine yards, like broken family, no faith. Now is doing fantastic, but at the time struggling with her own inner demons. And I think if you leave a path of bullshit, you will get susceptible where
Mm-hmm.
people misunderstand. And then when they want to blasphemize how you live, that's what it means, right?
Right, right.
So scratch marks are appearing. Then this how I knew it was real, for real, for real. She
Wow.
growls. It is a growl that no like heavy metal person could we listen.
Mm-hmm.
I don't listen to deathcore, but I got friends who do, and like when I was younger I did. It ain't the same, dude. It when your soul kind of tingles and it's like I don't know how, what the sensation to explain it to you, but it felt like I was on DMT, where like I felt like I did, like I zapped up in a like one of those slingshot things,
Mhm.
and I went 0 to 60 in 2 seconds. My soul said bye as soon as it heard the. I don't know how, but and she was a girl, so I was like, how the hell is she sounding like that?
Like some kind of vibration that comes from a place
It
that is like
was
inaccessible from this mortal
yes,
girl, right?
yes, and it did that. So I'm freaking out. We're closing up the shift. We're leaving. Um, I call Michaela. I'm like, bitch, where are you at? I need I need you here. Where
Hmm.
like why aren't you helping? She's like, I'm trying to come as fast as I can. So she gives me her dad's number. This thing's coming out. She's like, I gotta pee, I gotta go to the gas station. I'm like, okay, cool. We're gonna pull over. This thing starts coming out. Like at this point, it's talking in its voice. I am shooketh. I'm like, I'm scared. I don't know what the fuck to do. I like who the hell do you tell? And she starts like stabbing herself with shit. It's grabbing
Oh
things out of
God.
her purse, starts stabbing her. It gets a lighter, tries to burn her. She pisses herself and she shits herself lightly. How would
Mm.
that happen? Like, what normal person is able? But and when you look at demonic possessions, uh, that is what is around. They can shit and like piss on themselves, type of thing.
Mm.
So she's like trying to stab herself, do all this stuff. So I have to. I do not slap women. I do not. Had my own thing, but at the time I had to like get her shock to like get it out of her hand.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. To do
I get
something.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get out her hand. I lock her in the car. Michaela's like, call my dad. I talked to her dad, who's a shaman. He's like, keep on tell her. He's like, whatever you believe in, tell her it's coming. He's like, if it's me or if it's Jesus, just say it. Just tell
Mm.
it it's not theirs. She's yours. So I kept on being like, in the name of Christ, this is not yours. This is mine. She is mine. You're gonna be okay. And I like I don't know. I don't know. I was like, Dodge is coming. Dodge is coming. In the name
Right.
of Jesus Christ, you're protected. And it's like fucking screaming in the car. She's like banging her head on the steering wheel while she's got the smile
Oh God, that's
on her
terrifying.
fucking face. That's why I
Yeah.
don't like that goddamn movie.
No, no, no,
And
no.
she's like, I gotta pee. She starts crying. So it after a while it breaks. Maybe it was still it and it like played me, but she was like, I gotta pee. So I take her in the bathroom and I'm like, oh my God, what if this bounces out? Like I'm like, what if I die in this bathroom? And it does start coming out of the bathroom. I'm like, fuck, 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 hurry up and pee, bitch. Like, we gotta go. Like, get back in this car.
Mm.
So it's coming out. I'm walking her back. It's starting to act out again. I have to lock her in the car, do the same thing. Dodge is coming, this and that, lock her in there. Everyone's fucking staring at me. The fact that that the cops didn't come that night I was in the parking lot for 3 hours with this girl.
Oh my God.
Okay. 3 hours of dealing with a demon trying to come in and out. Maybe 2 hours, but still, it was a long time to be in a fucking gas station goddamn parking lot in Spring Hill, which is a very like fancy part
Yeah.
of Tennessee.
And now from her point of view, like she's going through this terrible possession, and it almost seems like from your point of view, and I'm not going to put words into your experience, but just to add a comment, it's almost like you were enduring this initiation that like was brought upon by this these spirits that
So
were
it
like
gets even
imposing
weirder.
themselves on you. Yeah.
It gets more weird. So she's locked in the car in her little tiny Chevy, little red Chevy, tiny like hatchback thing, and she's in there. And he's like, the Michaela's dad's like, annoy it, right, with love. So I did. I
Mm.
kept on knocking on the door, and I was like, "Hey, hey, 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 hey!" And this might lose people, but this is what I did because I'm a investigator, okay, and it's not every day a demon is in front of you. So I was like,
True.
kept on knocking, 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 knocking. I was like, "Hey, hey, 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 what's the name Leviathan?" Because ever since I was little, I've been obsessed with the name Leviathan,
Mm.
and I knew that was a demon. I was like, "Why is it trying to be around me? What's going on?" And I keep on knocking. I'm like, I want to know. I want to know. I want to know. I want to know. What's up? What's up? We're like trying to ask questions, just like trying to piss it off. And she snaps her neck directly. Like she's not looking at me when I'm doing this. She
Yeah.
snaps her neck directly at me and she says, "You're so fucking annoying." And then she says, and I can say that she says something really, I'll say it. Fuck it. She was like, "You like it when so and so touches you, don't you?" Or you liked it. You liked it when so and so touched you when you were little, didn't you? And I fucking died.
Mm,
That is what brought me back to Christ. I was like, there's no way. I've never said anything to this. There's no, and I was freaking out. I was like, don't let it bother you. Don't let it bother you. Cause you know
mm,
that's not true. That doesn't make anything. That's what ignorant people fucking say.
mm,
That is what ignorant people say. I was like, okay. So I go back. I'm like, Jesus loves you. In the name of Christ, you are loved. And then you are bounded by the name of Christ. You are bathed in the blood of Christ. You are bathed in the blood of Christ. I keep on saying it and saying it and saying it. Eventually she gets out of the car, beats the shit out of me, runs the fuck off. I gotta tackle her to the ground. She beats me. This woman's like, oh my God, what's going on? She drives off. She left me there. And then she ended up driving back. We get her. It's like trying to all come out by her mom's house and shit. And it's fucking my friends come, they like put crystals around her and shit. And they like in their way they exercised her. And they put a what was it, like a metallic sort of like material ring on her and blessed it in their own way. And she hasn't had a problem since. And to this day, she's weird about the story. And I had pictures for the longest time on my old Snapchat to Priye. I'm sure if I ever talk to Priye one day, I can get Priye because I called Priye and I was like, "Girl, she's possessed." And her dad was like, "Do this and that," because Priye's dad is a exorcist and he knows about shit like that. He helped cleanse my house, so that is what led me back to. And to this day, I don't like. It's not worth it because, and I was crying, man. Like no cap,
yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
dude, like one, I can go to jail. Two, this is someone I love. Like, what if she hurts herself? I'm gonna be scarred for
Mm,
life. It's not worth it. So,
yeah.
listeners, man, don't mess with whatever goes bump in the night. Know about it and research occultism and know how to use their tools against them. But there's no reason you should be talking to demons at all.
Oh my
You know?
goodness.
Yeah.
I need to take a couple deep breaths after that story, man.
Oh,
That
oh,
was
oh, oh. Nah, I
yes.
forgot something. Right.
Yes. Go
One thing
ahead.
she did. This thing did the because I googled it after and I know what it means now. It did this thing in rhythmic pattern, like one, two. I could still like my sleep. I can still hear it's like one, two, three, and I'll do that one, two, three, and they'll say the names of all the demons.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
And
it's like
this bitch don't
invoking.
know the
Yeah.
name of all the
Right. She
demons.
has no
She's this
idea. Yeah,
ignorant
yeah.
fucking atheist. Don't know what?
Mm,
You can't tell me shit, man. No, I'm with Jesus. I'm not with that evil
yeah.
shit. That's
Yeah.
why when people are like, "Oh, I'm a Satanist," hey, do me a favor. Next time someone brags about being a Satanist, and to listeners, flat out be like, "So go molest a kid right now, like right now,"
Mm.
and I expect a video by 5 p.m. because that's what you have to do, right? If you're about that ignorant shit, okay, I'm gonna say some really uncomfortable shit to you. If you can't back it up, just shut up and go be love.
Go be
It's
love.
that simple, dude. Why do you have to be so just desperate for
Yeah.
attention?
There's something interesting. I like listening to Paul Check. It's the Living 4D with Paul Check podcast. And he always says whenever he argues with someone who has a very like reductionist materialist perspective, he's like, well, do you believe in love? And they're like, well, yeah. He's like, can you weigh it? Can you measure it? Can you see it? Can you touch it? And they're like, well, no. He's like, so it still exists though, right? And they're like,
Yeah.
yeah, okay. Now I want to ask your opinion. I've never told this story on a podcast, but it seems to be maybe not a possession, but like the reverse, or maybe like a transference. And I'm sure there's a parallel between the story you just told me about your friend, which by the way, I'm glad she's okay. I have a very funny feeling in my tummy right now, and I'm glad you were able to tell that story. That was intense.
Yeah,
Probably
it's
the
a
most
lot.
intense moment on this podcast ever.
It's a
So
lot. I'm
thank you,
glad I
Julian.
could do
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
and I'm glad you're okay too. So my older brother, he's 4 years older than I am, and before I was born, he had an imaginary friend, right? And this concept of an quote unquote imaginary friend is very interesting to consider outside of the reductionist perspective, because we all know children are vessels. They're open vessels. They're the veil between the seen and the unseen
Yeah.
is thin when you're a child, right?
Yep.
So he had this imaginary friend who it became normalized that my brother Michael would talk to this imaginary friend frequently, and it wasn't something that bothered the adults around him. My parents were like, "Oh, this is normal. This is fine. This is great." his imaginary friend was a benevolent entity, right?
Yeah.
And the day that I was born, allegedly, this is the story that they gave me, but allegedly, the day that I was born, his imaginary friend disappeared. He vanished, never to be seen again, never heard from him again. And I was curious if you have any insight on that. Like, do you think
That's
that there's a
trippy.
transference, right? Yeah, it kind of gives me
Maybe
goosebumps to
that could
think
have
about
been
it. Yeah.
you.
Right, right.
That could have been you. That's trippy. Yeah, like
Mm-hmm.
you were always with him.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows?
Who
Yo, that's
knows?
wild. That could have been you. Yeah.
Who
Or
knows?
it's kind of like, um, maybe it's kind of like my job's not needed anymore.
Right. Yeah. It's like I'm gonna
Yeah.
guide you. I'm gonna protect you for now, and then now
Now it's
you're
his
ready
job.
to guide and protect your younger brother. Yeah.
Or maybe it's your job.
Maybe it's my job. I mean, yeah, I was just
Hmm.
talking about this today with my students. Like, we're so different from our family and our friends and our siblings and our parents. But we complement each other in these beautiful ways, and it's so cool that the contrast, if you will, can be complementary and productive and like nurturing in certain ways. And as a means of closing out, people who are listening to this podcast, like in the beginning of our conversation, like they probably will have no idea how weird it's gonna get. And I'm so thankful that you've
Yeah.
been here tonight with us, Julian.
Dude, let's do it again anytime.
Absolutely. There's so
Cause
much left. So as a means of closing out, I know you've had quite a journey and you've been able to share a good fraction of it with us. But there's much more to be uncovered and shared. And so I wanted to ask you, if you could, if it was possible for you to like time travel back and talk to some version of your former self, you would not alter the timeline. You would just be giving a word of advice to help yourself get along, to get through that challenge. Any point in your life, anytime, what would you say to your former self if you could?
oh man, I wouldn't do shit different. I wouldn't do shit different. God said that, and maybe it's the way it's supposed to be. And they say that with like magic too. Like even in the gold, I read a lot of Golden Dawn because it's super interesting.
Hmm,
But even Golden Dawn, it says don't expect to know everything, just be.
just be.
So I don't want to know, man. I'm just being. And because if I go back and I do that, because I can read cards, I can read tarot cards, I can read palms. I don't read my own. I'll read yours. I don't want to know mine because then it wouldn't be fun.
Got any
Now
cards in your
some,
bio?
yeah, I actually do. Sure
Would
do.
you like to pull one to close it out?
Nah, man, that I have freaked myself out this month with cards.
Ooh, okay, yeah, yeah.
I'm
That's
trying
something we're
to
gonna talk about later then.
I'm trying to do like I'm trying to see this year more, cards are cool and they're very interesting, but I want to start like seeing how much my voice and like my consciousness can do.
Yeah,
Because the cards can throw you off, man. Trust me.
yeah, that
Do
could be
if you're gonna do
tricky.
anything, do a bone reading instead.
A
Bone
bone
readings are
reading.
so rad.
Okay.
Yeah.
How does that work?
Bone readings are like this giant thing they put on the table and it has like a map of like your life. Like one is love, one is money, and that. And every single piece of like little toy or bone represents something else. And
Hmm.
where it lands tells you what's gonna happen, like how your
Interesting.
life is type of thing. But be
Yeah.
cautious. It's not bad, but it's also not always good because psychics tell you if you don't learn to trust your intuitive guide and you pay someone else or you use someone else to trust an intuitive guide. You should only use intuitive guides when you really need it, like divorce or like
Hmm.
custody. You're about to fucking hurt yourself. So where you can't trust yourself that much, it's good, but not too much. And I've abused,
Not too
sadly, I've
much.
abused myself this month with guides. Now I'm kind of just laying it on my angels, but I will do a reading for you next time. Like next time we do it, we
Awesome.
can
Yeah.
we can
That'd
have
be
like a
cool.
full blown one.
Yeah, yeah. Awesome. And something really profound that you said earlier in which was encapsulated in such a simple way was to just be love. And I think, we can make our existence, our time here playing this game very complicated, but to simplify things is never really a bad idea. So to just be love, I appreciate that you've been here today and you've had quite a story to
Oh
share
yeah.
with us. All of your stories leading up to this moment here and now. I'm thankful for you, Julian, and I cannot wait to chat with you again sometime. Do you want to share anything in closing with the audience before we wrap this up?
Well, I hope it can help, and like you got some people can just keep your mind open. Like you just said, just be loved, man. Everything is so much like I don't know why when we get older, older people just forget how it was to be young. But if you can just work on not moving with judgment, things are easier. And I know it's hard. Just like don't judge. I don't want fame from it. I never want fame from anything. But if I can help somebody be like, oh, this guy who's a regular person, this is their experience. Maybe I'm willing to help as long as you're respectful, you know? So that's what I want. I want to help people. And in the future, if we can all, us truthers can come together and maybe like do like an event or something or help each other, put bread on the table for each other. Because one thing I'm going to close out with, if this system is going to crumble in the next few years from now, do you realize, dude, that we get to be the head of that?
Mm,
That's a powerful thing, right?
it's a
Me,
good
you,
reminder.
Sam, Eddie, all these players in the game, William Ramsey, the Grimerica dudes, all of us get to be in the game. And if we can come together and host things together and put bread on the table and send each other like a shirt, like a text of like, you got this today type of thing, in the future we can have a good starting of exactly what we want. We can grow global together, but we're not going to do it if we're all sitting here talking about some they're trying to get our children and all
Start
this
local.
ignorant stuff. Yeah, man, or just hear me out. That's it, and I'll hear you out.
Well said. Well, I'm looking forward to part two, round two, and this round one was sure as hell a knockout. And just want to thank you one more time, Julian. And you know, the podcast, your friends are all brainwashed. All your friends are brainwashed. Is that still being produced? What's been
No,
going on with
man.
that?
No, I am one person. I actually did editing, post
Hmm.
production, graphics, pictures, everything on my own. I don't have it in me, dude. If I get an offer, like if Sam was like, I want you on my show or something, or and even then, man, no, I'm here. If you want me on your show, I'll come. I'll come talk. But
Yeah,
I'm
man.
not doing anything because I put so much of my money and time into trying to co-host with people. I don't have it in me, and people are really mean. And because I'm deciding to live this really ballsy lifestyle, I'm sensitive, dude, and I'm just a
Hmm.
person. I want to be happy. I'll put bread on the table where it deserves. And like I said, if you want me on your show, hey, I'll be on there. If you want video work, hey, we can talk that through. If you want editing, I'll edit some shit for you. You want graphics? Like, let's do it. But when it comes to me trying to give people a product nowadays, nah, nope, I'm done.
I respect that, man. You're
Yeah,
welcome back here anytime. And
for sure. It's fun.
yeah,
I like it that way.
been
It's
really
better that
fun.
way.
Yeah, yeah. This is cool, man. It
I
was
hope you
cool
have a good
to
night,
flow with
man.
you. Have a good night, Julian. I'll talk to you soon, man. Peace.
Thank you. God bless. See ya.
God bless.